Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so Venerable Sangha, Siales and the Dhamma friends. So today we will resume our discussion on the Kusalattika Pat, and in the last week we were discussing the analytical states. We started to discuss them in detail now. After learning the commons, we started to learn them in detail. So, what we did was that from the root condition we started, right? So in the root condition, we discussed the first one, kusalo kusalasa, and we discussed the analytical states here, the conditioning state and the conditioned states, and especially with reference to the instrumental case phrase. And we discuss about some of the paccayas, how they become completely and how they come appropriately.
僧团加油。大家晚上好。今天呢，我们将会继续来学习善三法发趣的相关内容。那在上一节课，我们在学习了语言的同分之后呢，我们呢也从因缘开始探讨了有关于因缘的在问分当中它的缘法和原生法的究竟法的内容。那在此呢，也以工具格的方式而得以展示和显现。并且呢，我们也看到了，在讨论有关于因缘的同分诸缘之时，哪些缘是属于适当的，哪些缘是属于完全的缘。
Right. So now we move into the second one. The second one, which is kusalo abhyakatassa. So for the kusalo dhammo, it's the same set of phenomena which comes, right? But we have these things. The wholesome dhamma serves as a condition for the rooted mind-produced matter, right? That we need to know. The rooted mind-produced matter in the fivefold existing during the arising occasion, right? So during the lifetime. So the conditioned phenomena are the rooted mind-produced matter, right? So that's why these two are when it comes to explaining the wholesome dhammas, the conditioning dhammas, the rooted matter, the rooted mind-produced matter are connected, right? So this includes 21 wholesome consciousness and 31 mental factors, of which the two wholesome roots, and they support the rooted mind-produced matter, right? Yeah. So the other explanation, like the two rooted consciousness moments and three rooted consciousness moments, are given here.
那我们来看一下问分的第二种情况，Kusalo Abhyakatassa 善对无记的情况。那在此呢，作为主格的短语呢是 Kusalattikka，也就是善法。这里的善法呢，它指代的是在五蕴有当中作为有因心生色的缘法的内容。那在五蕴有当中呢，它主要指代的是21种的善心和与其相应的38种善心所。那在其中呢，尤其是在21种善心和38心所相应的善因，那在此呢有两种的情况，一种呢是具备2个因的善法，还有一种情况呢是具备3个因的善法。那两种的善因主要出现在2因的心识刹那当中，那具备3因的则是呢 三因的善法。那这些呢，则是作为主格的内容。那作为原生法的内容呢，则是以语格的方式表现，即是呢与善心所俱生的有因的心生色法。
Right. So now we move into the instrumental case phrase. So then here the forces are mentioned here. The forces of root, predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. In the specific force of root condition obtained completely and appropriately from the 9 conditioning forces. Altogether, there are 9 conditioning forces. So what we need to really know here is that we know the connaissance large group and the root condition, they always come, right? Because the root condition is the base condition here. In the connaissance large conditions, they always apply in all the situations, right? And so the other conditions which comes from the connaissance medium group is the disassociation one, because the relationship is here with the roots supporting the mind produced matter. So that's why we have the disassociation here. And because of the hetu, because of the amoha, there is predominance, faculty, and path, right? From the small group, these three constant small group, these three conditions come.
那在此呢，如果我们去探讨同分的情况呢，一共会有9种的缘，它们呢对因缘能够具备完全跟适当的同分关系。这9种缘呢，包括因缘、增上缘、俱生缘、依止缘、道缘、根缘、不相应缘、有缘和不离弃缘。那在此呢，因缘呢即是根本缘，大俱生诸缘呢，它们所包括的缘法内容呢，完全覆盖了因缘的缘法，所以是完全的同分。那不相应缘呢，在其中呢，就是呢，能够原生与该该些善因俱生的心生色法，所以呢，它也能够和因缘的情况呢构成同分。那增上缘、根缘跟道缘呢，它们则是在缘法当中呢，拥有无痴心所，也就是慧根心所，也与因缘当中的无痴心所是相似的，所以呢，它们也具备同分的关系，也是呢，适当的同分关系。
Right. So, so the application of completely and appropriately. So how does it come? Right. So it's quite easy to figure it out here. So the predominance, faculty, and path, they come as appropriately, right? And as usual, the connaissance large conditions, they always come as completely. So in addition to the connaissance large conditions, the disassociation, right? The disassociation one is also coming here as completely. And why it is completely? Why does it come as completely? Because in this case, the nama, the nama, the mental phenomena, they are supporting the rupa in this case, right? Because it is kusalo abhyakatassa, wholesome supporting the indeterminate. So because of this relationship, this disassociation, it comes as completely, right? Because when the roots are supporting the mind-born materiality, the supporting happens fully, right? All the conditioning dhammas support the conditioned dhamma in full, in disassociation.
那对于这9种元它们的同分关系呢，我们首先应当理解到，在大具声组当中呢，所有的元呢，它们都是完全适用的，因为呢，它的内容呢，也包括有因缘的这些元法。那对于不相应元而言呢，我们应当理解到它的元法内容呢，是包括有所有因在内的一切名法。那它所支持的原生法呢，也是具声的新生色法。所以呢，对于不相应元而言呢，因为它的元法的内容也完全覆盖因缘的元法内容，所以呢，在中句声组的不相应元也被认为是和因缘完全适用的。
Right. So now we move into the third one, which is kusalo abhyakatassa. Right. Kusalo kusala abhyakatassa, which is wholesome to wholesome and indeterminate. So, so in the conditioning states here, right? So the wholesome dhammas, which serves as a condition for we have the associated aggregates and rooted mind produced matter, right? So we have these two parts, the associated aggregates and the rooted mind produced matter. And of course, remember when there is this abhyakata, when there is the mind-born materiality, so it always happens in the fivefold existence, right? So it was the same case in the previous one too. Here also it happens in the fivefold existence, right? So that we have to mention here. And then this includes the 21 wholesome consciousness, the 38 mental factors, of which the 2 wholesome roots, which are found into rooted consciousness moment, and the three wholesome roots, non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion, which are found in the 3 rooted consciousness. The moments, I don't know what it means. There's a mistake, I think. Okay, so which supports the conditioning phenomena. So in the conditioned phenomena, we have the 38, the 21 wholesome consciousness, the 38 associated mental factors, and the rooted mind produced matter, both.
那第3种的对应关系呢，是善对善无记的类型。它和我们刚刚所看到的善对无记的类型呢是相呼应的，因为呢，它也探讨的是在五蕴有当中，当这里呢作为存在于善法当中的2因或3因，能够去支持与其同时升起的相应名法，还有呢有因的新生色支持。它呢所出现的这样的情况。那它对善和无记法的嗯的内容呢，善和无记法作为原生法的内容，它指代的是那这里的善法呢，包括有21种的善心和38种的相应心所。那无记法呢，则是与善心所升起的主因心生色，这些呢是作为它的原生法。
Right. So now we move into the instrumental case phrase, right? So how many are there? There are 8 conditioning forces in total. The forces of root, predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, presence, and non-disappearance result in the specific force of root condition obtained completely and appropriately from the 8 conditioning forces. Right? So there are only 8 here.
好，接下来我们看一下以因缘即是它的工具格短语的情况，有哪些缘是构成同分关系？在此呢，一共有8种缘，它们能够存在于同分关系，即是呢因缘、增上缘、俱生缘、依止缘、根缘、道缘、有缘和不离续缘。
Right. So now here, this is something special that we need to learn here. I mean, when it comes to the instrumental phrase, uh, there is something special that we need to know here, right? So in this relationship of kusalabhya katasa, I think I should write it in a separate. right? So here the relationship is kusalabhyakatas, right? The wholesome supporting the wholesome and the indeterminate. So we know the kusala, it's the namadhamma, the mental aggregates. Here, the conditioned states, again, they are the namadhamma, and abhyakatasa, they are the rupa dhammas, right? So, uh, so among these uh, 8 conditions, right? So 8 conditions, you may have noticed that we have the connaissance large condition, and have the root, then we have the predominance, faculty, and path. So it means from the four conditions from the connaissance large group, and 4 from the connaissance small group. So uh, so only that, right? So which means there is no paccayas from the connaissance medium group, right? So but we know when the kusala is supporting the kusala, we have the sampayutta paccaya, right? The sampayutta is there, the association is there. And when the kusala is supporting, the wholesome is supporting the indeterminate, we have the vipayutta, right? So in the previous 2 enumerations, right? In kusalo kusalasa, we learned that sampayutta was there. And in kusalo abhyakatasa, we learned that the vipayutta was there. But here in the kusalo abhyakatasa, both the sampayutta and the vipayutta paccayas, they are not taken here, right? So the reason is that, when these dhammas are really taking place, when these dhammas are really arising, then this relationship is there. But what is happening here is that uh, what is taught here by the Buddha is that these two, Buddha is explaining this through the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna, right? The kusala and the abhyakata, right? The conditioned states are kusala and abhyakata. So when you consider these two as a whole, right? When you take as a whole, then there is no, we cannot say that sampayutta is there, because we cannot say sampayutta there, because in the abhyakata, in the rupa, there is no sampayutta, right? We cannot say vipayutta, because in the kusala, right? Here in the uh, kusala conditioned state, the wholesome conditioned states, there is no vipayutta. So that's why the both of sampayutta and vipayutta are not taken here, right? So that's only the reason. So understand it in this way, right? So because in the future, in the next subchapter, we'll be learning about this, right? The paccayas are grouped. Not the paccayas, the enumerations are grouped based on this.
好，那在善对善无忌的同分的关系的情况探讨之中，我们需要特别的了解到，在该关系当中呢，如果我们探讨的是善对善无忌的类型呢，那么它会有一共8种缘构成同分，和善对无忌的情况相比，善对善无忌当中呢，它会出现有4个大具声组的缘，也会出现4个小具声组的缘，但是呢，却不会出现任何的缘来自于中具声。那中具声组的缘的情况呢，被排除在外。这里呢，我们可以看到善对善无忌，孤对孤比亚，它的情况呢，这里的孤善法的内容包括的是善的名法，然后作为原生法的孤和比亚，孤的意思是善名法，比亚的意思呢，则是无忌的色法。好，那因此呢，当我们将它们拆开来看，善法对善法是民法支持民法的情况，这种情况呢，它可能会有相应缘。那如果是拆开来看，善法支持 比亚无记的色法呢？这种情况呢，它可能会有不相应缘的情况。然而呢，在此呢，我们在善三法的学习当中呢，在这里考虑到的原生法的内容是善法和无记法这两者。当我们在两者，在我们将这两者在一起考虑的时候呢，就不能够说相应缘同时存在于这样的对应关系当中，因为呢，相应缘不会存在于善对无记的情况里。那同样的不相应缘呢，也不会存在于善对善的情况当中。因此呢，我们呢需要去排除中具生组的这些缘的情况，同分的缘的情况，包括呢，在我们后面学习的缘的数量品的内容呢，都会基于此而进行探讨。
Okay, so do we have any questions here we can discuss before moving into the next one?
好，在我们往下进行之前，大家还有什么问题要问的吗？
Okay, no questions it seems. Okay, so let's move into the next one, the fourth one, which is akusalo akusalasa. Right. So in the akusalo akusalasa, the subject phrase, the conditioning states are the unwholesome dhamma serves as a condition for the 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors. Right. So and this the breakdown is given for each of the three types of unwholesome consciousness. For the greed-rooted consciousness, for the greed-rooted consciousness, there are greed and delusion. These are the two types of root. Right. For the hatred-rooted consciousnesses, there are the roots. There are two roots: hatred and delusion. And in the consciousness moment of delusion-rooted ones, there is only one. The delusion is there. So these are the conditioning phenomena. Right. So to understand that these are separated. Right. It's presented separately. And the conditioned phenomena in the dative case phrase are the 12 unwholesome consciousness along with the 27 associated mental factors, excluding the root of delusion. Right. So this has to be excluded from the delusion-rooted consciousness, right? From the delusion-rooted pair. So they are obtained as conditioned phenomena.
那我们来看一下第四种的对应关系，不善对不善。在此呢，作为主格的不善法的内容呢，包括有存在于12种不善心，与12种不善心和27种心所相应的不善因。那存在于贪根心当中呢，则是会有贪因跟痴因作为缘法；在嗔根心当中呢，则是会有痴因与嗔因作为缘法；而在痴根心当中呢，则是有痴因作为缘法。那由此的语格的短语，也就是这里原法的原生法的内容呢，则包括与上述的不善因相应的12种不善心和27种相应心所。为什么是27种相应心所呢？因为需要去除那两个痴根心当中的痴因，因为在痴根心当中呢，只有一个因，所以不会有不会有这样的具生的关系。
Yes. So in the instrumental case phrase, right? So how many pachas are there, right? And so in total there are seven. Seven pachas are there. Seven conditioning forces are there. Forces of root, connaissance, mutuality, the dependence, association, presence, and non-disappearances result in the specific force of root condition obtained completely and separately.
那在工具格当中，如果呢我们去探讨和因缘构成同分关系的缘，一共呢则是有下列的这7种缘，包括呢因缘、大具生组的4个缘，还有呢相互缘以及相应缘。
Right. For the conditioning phenomena, we already discussed that they have to set, like for the two rooted, the greed rooted, the delusion rooted. So they have given here. I think there is an error here. Yeah, there is an error here. We have to remove the appropriately. Right. So yeah, we have to remove the term, the phrase appropriately from here because it's not correct. This one has to be removed. Yes, please translate.
在这里的话呢，我们要看到有一个错误，在该7个圆的同分关系当中呢，它们都是属于完全同分的类型，不存在适当的同分关系，所以在这里呢，需要将适当的去除。
Yeah. So what happens here is that the unwholesome dhammas, right? Akusala supporting the akusala. So the two types of phenomena are nama supporting the nama, right? It occurs like that. So when it's taking place, the connaissance large conditions, they support completely. And because it's that relationship between nama and nama, the mental aggregates, the mutuality and the association comes. So, and it comes in full. So the term completely is also applicable with here. And again, the root condition, it's the base condition. So therefore it's applicable in completely. So fully, right? So then all the 7 paccayas, they support completely. So what you have to note here is that in this case, we don't have the, because the relationship is between the unwholesome dhammas, we don't have the 3 other conditions from the connaissance small group, right? What are those 3 other conditions? The predominance, the predominance is not there, right? Predominance is not there. And then we don't have the connaissance faculty, right? Is not there. And then we don't have the path, right? We don't have there. So why did these 3 paccayas, why did these 3 paccayas become common with root? It's only because of one dhamma, that is amoha, right? Because of amoha, non-delusion, the root condition become common with these 3 types of paccayas. So because now this is the unwholesome supporting the unwholesome, we don't have the amoha too, right? It's not there. So that's why we don't have any other condition from the connaissance small group. right? So all the paccayas which comes here, they come as completely.
好，那在不善对不善的情况当中呢，我们首先要理解到，作为原法和原生法的不善法的内容呢，都是属于不善的名法。那在该种同分关系当中的七种元呢，它们都是完全同分的。那我们需要知道的是，在不善对不善这种情况之下呢，它的同分关系当中不存在三种的元，也就是俱生的增上缘、俱生的根源，还有俱生的道缘。为什么呢？因为对于这三种缘而言呢，它们是与阿摩哈无痴心所是同分的。那在不善对不善的关系当中呢，是没有阿摩哈，没有无痴的，所以呢，在此呢，它不会与这三种缘存在同分关系。那这七种缘相互之间呢，它们都是完全同分的类型和情况。
Right. Now we move into the fifth one, which is akusalo abhyakatassa, unwholesome, supporting to indeterminate. So how does it happen? Unwholesome to indeterminate. The akusala dhamma. So what has done here is essentially is to connect the mind-produced matter, right? The unwholesome dhamma serves as a condition for mind-produced matter in the fivefold existence during arising occasion, and the three types of unwholesome consciousness, and the roots are connected here, right? As in the previous one. And then in the conditioned state, there are these, we have this mind-produced matter, right? Created by unwholesome consciousness.
再来我们看一下第五种的对应关系是阿古萨鲁阿比亚格达萨不善对无记的关系。在此呢，作为原法的主格短语不善法的内容，包括在无印有当中能够支持新生色的那些的不善法里面的因，包括呢与12种不善心和27种相应心所相应的不善因。那在这里面的具体内容呢，和上述的不善对不善的情况当中呢，因的表现是一样的。而它的原生法的内容呢，在这里呢，以语歌表现阿比亚嘎达萨达玛瑟，指的呢是与不善心俱生的心生色法，这个呢是作为它的原所生法。
Okay, so in the instrumental phrase, there are 6 conditions in total. And again, here the appropriately has to be removed. There's an error here. So what are those conditions? The root, connaissance, dependence, dissociation, presence, and non-disappearance, right? So totaling to 6. So it should only comes as completely. So the root connaissance last condition and the dissociation, right? So dissociation, it comes here as full, completely.
好，那在这里呢，我们看一下它的同分关系。那在此呢，以工具格短语所表达的黑度巴者耶纳提到呢，有6种缘，它们呢是具备同分关系的。那即是呢，因缘、大具生组的4个缘，还有不相应缘。那这里呢，大具生组的缘和不相应缘呢，因为它们的缘法完全的覆盖所有类型的因，所以呢，它们对于因缘的同分关系呢，在这里需要纠正一下，是完全的获得，而并非是适当的。
Okay, so now we move into the 6th one, akusalo akusalabhyakatassa, unwholesome to unwholesome and indeterminate. So this one is very straightforward. This is the method for this one is similar to the kusalabhya katas, right? Wholesome to wholesome and indeterminate. The method is the same method, right? Only the dhammas change here. So what comes here is the unwholesome dhamma serves as a condition for the associated aggregates and the mind produced matter. We have it there. And here in the conditioned states, we have the 12 unwholesome consciousness along with 27 mental factors, excluding the root of delusion from the delusion rooted pair and mind produced matter created by unwholesome consciousness, right? So that's what comes here.
那我们接下来看一下第六种的对应关系，是阿古萨罗阿比亚阿古萨罗阿古萨拉比亚格达萨不善对不善和无记的情况。在这里呢，作为原法的主歌端也是阿古萨罗达摩不善法，它包括呢与12种不善心和27种心所相应的不善因。那这些的内容呢，跟上述的因所存在的情况呢都一样，它们存在于贪根、嗔根和痴根心当中这些不善因。那作为缘所生法的不善法和无记法内容包括什么呢？这里的不善法指的是与上述的不善因相应的12种不善心和除了痴根心里面痴因以外的27个心所。这里的无记法所代表的呢，则是与不善心所俱生的心生色法。
Now we come to the number 7, right? Which is abhyakato abhyakatassa, indeterminate to indeterminate. So indeterminate to indeterminate, we know that there are two types at the period of life continuity, and later we have at the moment of conception. So how it is presented here, right? The indeterminate Dhamma serves as a condition for the associated aggregates for the fourfold existence and for the associated aggregates and the mind-produced matter for the fivefold existence. This support for the 21 rooted resultant consciousness, 17 rooted functional consciousness, and 38 mental factors, right? So this we have to understand very clearly. Here, the indeterminate Dhamma serves as a condition for the associated aggregates for the fourfold existence, right? In the formless plane, because the relationship we have for the Abhyakato Abhyakatasa is only for the Nama and Nama, right? Because there are no Rupas. And for the fivefold existence, we have the associated aggregates and the mind-produced matter both, right? And then the breakdown is given for 21 rooted resultant consciousness, 17 rooted functional consciousnesses, and the 38 mental factors, right? And then given the 3 beautiful roots are found in 2 rooted consciousness moment, and 3 beautiful root are found in 3 rooted consciousness moment, right? And for the conditioned state, it's given as the 21 rooted resultant consciousness, 17 rooted functional consciousnesses, 38 mental factors, and mind-produced matter, right? So that's what the condition states.
好，我们接下来看一下第7种。在第6种的不善对不善无记的情况当中呢，它所拥有的同分关系的缘呢，是一共有5个缘。其实呢，对于4种大具生组的缘，它们与因缘都是属于完全同分的关系，完全获得因缘的关系。那第7种的对应关系呢，则是无记对无记的关系。在该种关系当中呢，作为它的原法的内容阿比亚嘎多达摩无记法的内容呢，我们需要依于生存界来去进行分析。有这样的2种类型，一种呢是 探讨四蕴有的情况，另外一种呢是探讨五蕴有的情况。那在四蕴有当中呢，这里的作为原法的无记法呢，它只能够支持的原生法的内容呢，只有相应注韵。而在五蕴有当中的无记法呢，则可以作为五蕴有的相应注韵和新生色的源。那这里呢，整体上而言，这里的无记法的内容包括有21种的有因果报心、17种有因的唯作心和38种的相应心所。它们呢，可能是出现在二美音或三美音当中的这些的音，这是它们的原法内容。那它的原所生法的内容Abhidhamma、Dhammasan包括的内容呢，即是21种的有因的果报心，还有呢17种类型的有因唯作心，以及呢相应的38种的心所，还有呢与这些无记音所俱生的心生色法。
Right. Then we have the conditioning. We have the conditioning forces here. The forces of root, predominance, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, resultant, faculty, path, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance result in the specific force of root condition obtained. We have the completely and appropriately from the 12 conditioning forces, right? So in summary, it's the root, connaissance, large conditions, and all of the connaissance medium conditions. We have the predominance, and then we have the faculty and the path. So we need to really break down to understand it. So the predominance condition, which is presented here, right? The predominance, it invariably applies to the 4 types of fruit consciousness, right? It's always there. It's the abhyakata. And also the sublime functional consciousnesses, the mahagata kriya chittas. And it applies variably in the kamavachara kriya chitta. Sometimes it's there and sometimes not there, right? So this we have to consider.
好，那对于无记对无记法的同分关系呢，在此呢，我们去以工具格的短语来看，一共是有12种元。那这12种元呢，它们完全和适当的获得因缘的原理。这里的12种元呢，包括因缘、大具生组的4个元、中具生组的4个元，以及增上缘、根缘和道缘。那对于大具生组跟中具生组的诸缘而言呢，因为它们的缘法呢是可以完全覆盖在此的无记因，所以呢，它们都是完全的同分。那对于增上缘而言呢，这里我们需要特别的注意，增上缘呢，它一定会适用于4种的果心和广大唯作心。换言之呢，在4种果心跟广大唯作心当中的因呢，它们总是具备增上缘的力量。那在欲界唯作智相应的欲界唯作心当中呢，有些时候因可以这些无记因可以是增上的，有些时候呢则并不一定是增上的，这是我们在此应当考虑到的。
Right. And the conditioning phenomena, we should consider it's only for the rooted resultant consciousness, Sahajāta vipaka chittas, and the functional consciousnesses. Again, they should be the rooted ones, right? And the non-rooted ones are not applicable here. So in the list of conditions, the conditions from the great connaissance subgroup are applied completely. For the connaissance from the small connaissance subgroup are applied appropriately. Yeah. Among the resultant consciousness, the predominance condition apply to the supramundane resultant consciousnesses. And also this is there when there is the investigation predominance is applicable. And when it's not there, then the predominance does not become a common with the hetu, right? At this resultant consciousness moment. And for the conditions in the middle subgroup, again, it's used appropriately because the mutuality and the association are applied only when mental phenomena are conditions of other mental phenomena, right? Because like there are two types, right? The two types of condition states, the nama and the rupa. So only the nama and nama relationship, we can say that the mutuality and the association are there. And it's the same case with the dissociation condition, which is applicable only when the consciousness originated material, the mind-born materiality is there. And the resultant condition, it's applied only in the resultant consciousness. Now, we know that there are two types of consciousness, which are the resultant consciousness and the functional consciousness. So in the functional consciousnesses, this resultant condition is not there.
好，这里呢，在此我们再纠正一下。那这里呢，在同分关系当中呢，应当知道的是，缘法和缘所生法都是无记法，所以呢，缘法和缘所生法只适用于无因的果报心和为作心这样的民法的情况。那在此呢，当缘法和缘所生法是以无记对无记的方式呈现的时候呢，大具生组里面的全部4种缘呢，都完全的适用，而小具生组的缘呢，则是适当的适用。为什么呢？因为在中具生组里面的增上缘呢，它只适用于初世间的果报心。那小具生组的缘呢，是适当的适用，因为在小具生组里的增上缘呢，它只适用于初世间果报心里的无记因。那对于中具生组的缘呢，则也是适当的适用。为什么呢？因为在中具生组里的相互缘和相应缘这2个缘呢，它只能够满足于无记对无记的无记法都是明法的时候呢，才能够适应。而不相应缘呢，也是适当的适应，因为它只能够匹配缘法是明法，缘生法是心生色法的情况之时适用。而果报缘呢，则只适用于果报心的类型，所以对于中具生组的缘呢，它们都是属于适当的适用的情况，而并非是完全的适用。
Okay, so if you have any questions, we can discuss now.
好，那到这里大家有问题可以提出。
Okay, either everything is very clear or not clear at all. No questions.
那看来大家对于上述讲的内容都比较清楚，所以没有疑问。
Okay, so we move to the next one. At the moment of conception, right? So this is the second part of the indeterminate to indeterminate. Okay, so abhyakato, the subject phrase, the indeterminate dhamma serves as a condition for the associated aggregates and for the associated aggregates and comma produce matter. So this part, right, the associated aggregates, this is applicable for the fourfold existence, right? Fourfold existence, and this second part, the associated aggregates and the comma produce matter, this one is applied for the fivefold existence. So this support for the 17 rooted resultant consciousness and 35 mental factors. So only the 17 rooted resultant conditions consciousnesses are taken here. The two non-rooted resultant conditions, especially the patisandhi, chittas, the conception, they are not taken here, right? So the ahetuka patisandhi, both of these consciousness are not taken here. And we have the 35 mental factors, excluding the 3 abstinences. And then we have the breakdown of the roots, right? The 2 beautiful roots found in 2 rooted consciousness moments, and 3 beautiful roots which are found in 3 rooted consciousness moment. So these are the conditioning phenomena. And then we have the conditioned phenomena, the 17 rooted resultant consciousnesses, the 35 associated mental factors, and karma produced matter at the moment of conception.
好，接下来我们再去看一下无记法对无记法在结生刹那之时的情况。那在结生刹那的时候，作为主格的阿比亚嘎多达摩无记法的内容呢，包括与相应诸能够作为相应诸运和相应诸运与业声色的缘法的无记法。那这里的话呢，我们需要区分开来。当无记法只作为相应诸运的缘的时候呢，它指代的是在四运有界；而无记法可以作为相应诸运和业声色的缘的情况呢，则指的是五运有的情况。那这些的无记法呢，它们能够资助17种的有因果报心和35种心所。那这里的话，在结生刹那呢，它分为2种情况，一种呢是2因结生的，以无贪和无嗔作为因；一种情况呢是3因结生的，以无贪、无嗔、无痴作为因。那这个呢是它的缘法的情况。那作为该种无记对无记在结生刹那的原生法的内容呢，阿比亚格达萨达玛瑟。对无记法的内容包括有17种的有因果报心、35种的相应心所和结生刹那的业生色法，这些呢是作为缘所生法。
So now we move into the instrumental case phrase. How many conditions are there in total? We have 11 conditioning forces, right? The forces of root, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, result, faculty, path, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance result in the specific force of root condition obtained completely and appropriately. So in summary, the root, the connaissance large conditions, and all of the connaissance medium conditions, faculty and path, right? So those are the conditions which we find here, right? There are 12 in total. I'm sorry, 11 in total. And the predominance condition, it does not appear here because the predominance condition is not applicable in the rebirth linking moment, right? And also the vipaka paccaya, right? From the connaissance medium conditions, there are all of them are there, but we have the mutuality, dependence, and then we have the association. Is that all? Yeah, we have the disassociation too. I'm sorry, dependence is not there, right? This one is wrong. Dependence, not that, it's the resultant. Resultant is there. So because in this here, we have the relationship sometimes as nama to nama and rupa. And some we have nama to nama only. So because of this, the mutuality, association, and disassociation, these three, they become the relationship comes as is shown as appropriately, right? And for the resultant, it comes completely, right? Because it's the conception moment of conception, either the 2 roots or the 3 roots they support the associated aggregates and the comma produce matter uh, with the resultant condition, and it happens completely. Yeah. So the other conditions, uh, uh, they come as appropriately, right? So faculty condition and the path condition, we know it comes as appropriately. Yeah. So it's like that.
那么对于无记对无记在结生刹那的情况当中呢，能够构成同分关系的一共是有11种元，那包括呢因缘、大具生组的4种元、中具生组的4个元，还有根源和道元。那这些呢，它们完全和适当的获得因缘的原力，获得11种原力中具体的因缘原力。在此呢，对于大具生组的诸元呢，它们是完全的获得。在中具生组诸元当中呢，首先果报元呢，它的元法的内容呢，即是包括有这个果报的民法的类型。那对于在此的无记对无记的情况呢，我们需要了解它分为在结生刹那分为2种类型。第一种类型呢，在结生刹那的无记因的无记法呢是民法，果的无记法呢可以是民法或者是民法和色法这2种的情况。那当它的同分的元是果报元的时候呢，果报元可以满足这2种的情况，所以在中具生组里面的果报元呢和因缘是完全同分的。而对于相互元、相应元、不相应元呢，它们则是部分同分的，因为相互元呢，它们只能够存在于名对名的情况当中，相应元呢也是只能够名对名的情况当中，而不相应元呢，则只能够存在于名对色的情况当中。那至于说剩下的根源和道源呢，它们都是适当的同分的关系。
Right. So there is one more thing that we need to understand here is that now this, especially with this association, disassociation, and mutuality, I mentioned they come as appropriately, right? But this is stated, this term appropriately is stated for these 3 conditions in general, right? It's stated in general. I'm sorry, not the disassociation, the mutuality and yeah, the mutuality and disassociation is given in general. What I mean as general is that in this nama and rupa, right, we know when there is mutuality there is association, right? So in this relationship the mutuality and association cannot be mentioned, right? Because we have to consider them as both, right? But here we can take it in full, mutuality and association, right? If you take individual cases and individual scenarios, sometimes certain pachas can be, which has mentioned uh, as appropriately, can be taken as completely, right? So in this nama and nama relationship, in the fourfold existence, then it takes place completely, right? Because the conditioning states and the condition states and the conditioning forces are given in general. We can, this term appropriately is used, right? But if you dig into the specific cases, then some of them might be different.
好，那在这里呢，我们可以看到，像民法对民法是无记对无记结生刹那的关系呢，在四运有当中呢，它是一定存在的。在这种情况当中呢，那相互元和 相应缘呢，它们是完全的和因缘是同分的。那只有呢，在四蕴有的情况当中呢，才出现这样的情况。然后呢，在五蕴有的情况当中呢，则并不适应。所以呢，则说呢，这些缘呢，它们都是适当的同分的关系。
I hope it's clear, everyone.
大家都清楚吗？
Okay, so now we moving to the next condition. Like we have done with all 7 enumeration for the root condition, and now the second one, which we'll be discussing the jhana condition. We have this table here, which is a summary, right? So starting from the kusalo kusalasa. Now in this moving forward, there is not much to discuss in these individual cases because we have discussed the theory on completely and appropriately. So it's very easy to understand, right? Okay, so the first one, the kusalo kusalasa, wholesome to wholesome, the kusalo dhammo, the subject phrase. So we have the 5 jhana factors, right? The conditioning phenomena, the jhana factors, namely initial thought, sustained thought, joy, feeling, and one-pointedness that arise in the mind moments of 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 mental factors, which support these associated aggregates, right? Straightforward. And then we have the conditioned phenomena of 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 mental factors.
接下来我们看下一组的缘，也是呢产纳缘。那对于产纳缘，在表格当中呢，我们没有太多需要探讨的内容，我们需要重点看的呢是它们的同分关系。在此呢，第一种的对应关系呢是善法对善法的情况。这里呢，作为缘法的善法的内容呢，即是5种的禅知，那包括呢寻、思、喜、受和一尽性。这5种的禅知呢，它们会出现在21种善心和38种这个心所的心识刹那中，所以呢，它的缘法就是和21种善心和38种心所相应的5种禅知，它们呢可以去支柱的原生法的内容呢，也是作为善法类型的相应诸运，即是21种善心和38种相应心所法。
Then we have the instrumental case phrase, the conditioning force. There are 9 in total. So the jhana, along with the forces of connaissance, mutuality, dependence, faculty, path, association, presence, and non-disappearance, serves as the conditioning forces, right? There are total 9. So due to the presence of Indriya and Magga, it is appropriately, right? Magga and Indriya. And the remaining 7, they comes as completely.
对于善对善情况，它的语格的短语呢，工具格的短语所提到的同分的缘呢，一共是有9种。哪9种呢？包括俱生、相互、依止、根、道相应有和不离去。那在这9种缘当中呢，除了根缘和道缘，它们呢是适当的升起以外呢，剩下的7种缘都是完全的升起。
Right. So now we move into the second one, Kusalo Abhyakatassa, wholesome to indeterminate. We have the subject phrase here. In terms of the paccayadhammas, there is nothing has changed here because it's a 5 jhana factors, and the conditioned states are connected here as which support the mind produced matter, and this takes place in the 5-fold existence. And then we have the conditioned states. It's the conditioned phenomena, the mind produced matter, which arise from the wholesome consciousness. It's very easy. And the in the instrumental case phrase, we have 8 total forces. So from Sahajāta, the connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, then we have the disassociation, of course, because of the Rupa Dhammas, and then we have the presence and non-disappearance, right? And here also, the Indriya and the Magga, right? These two conditions are there appropriately. Yes.
我们来看一下第二种对应关系是善对无记的关系。在此呢，作为主格的善法，它所包括的内容呢，一是出现在21种善心和38种心所当中的5种的禅知。那如果呢，在这里呢，他们呢要能够善法要能够支持这些相应名法还有心声色呢，它是应当存在于五蕴有当中的禅知才可以。那原生法的内容呢，这里的无记法包括由善心所升起的心声色。那以工具格短语来看，对于禅那缘而言，它的同分关系一共是有8种缘，包括禅那缘、具生缘、依止缘、根缘、道缘、不相应缘、有缘和不离气缘。在这8种缘当中呢，根缘和道缘的缘力呢是适当的升起，剩下的6种缘力呢则是完全的升起。
Right. So moving into the third one, Kusalo Kusalabhyakatassa. So here it's also again very straightforward, right? We have the conditioning dhammas, the 5 jhana factors. And then we have the associated aggregates and the mind-produced matter, because wholesome to wholesome and indeterminate. And we have the 5-fold existence as well. And then we have the conditioned states, which are the 21 wholesome consciousness, 31 mental factors, 38 mental factors, and the mind-produced matter arising from the wholesome consciousness mind moments in the 5-fold existence. Yes.
那在这里呢，第3种的对应关系呢是善对善无记的类型。那在此作为原法的善法呢，它包括有出现在21个善心和之中的和21个善心以及38种心所相应的5种禅知，它们将能够支住五蕴有当中的相应诸蕴和心声色法。那在此呢，它的原生法的内容Kusalattika Pat Dhammasan 就包括有在此的21种的善心和38种的相应心所，以及呢由这些善心所具生的心声色法，在五蕴有当中的。
And the conditioning forces, again, it's the same. There are not the same really. There are 7 total forces. So which only comes from the Sahajāta, the connaissance large group and the connaissance small group, right? The connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, presence, and non-disappearance serves as the conditioning forces. And it's, I think that part is missing, right? So it comes as appropriately and completely, right? So the appropriately part is applicable for the Indriya and Magga, right? The rest 5 of them, they come as the as completely. So here also, because of in the condition states that there are mentality and the materiality, nama and rupa, both. We don't have the other, the connaissance medium group, right? The pachas from the connaissance medium group are not there.
好，那对于善对善无忌这样的一种情况来讲，它的空句格短语，它的同分情况一共是有7种元。那7种元力呢，包括俱生一指、跟道有和不离去，那还有禅那元。那对于这7种元而言呢，由于根源和道元这两种呢，它们呢是适当的升起，剩下的5种元呢，它们都是完全的升起。
Okay, so we move into the fourth one. Akusalo, akusalasa, unwholesome to the unwholesome. So we have the five types of five jhana factors that arise in the moments of 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors which support the associated aggregates. And then we have the conditioned states, the conditioned phenomena, the associated aggregates that arise in the moments of 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors. And the jhana paccayana, there are 9 forces in total. So what are those 9? We have the connaissance, mutuality, dependence. Faculty is there, right? Even though it's unwholesome, the faculty is there because certain things, certain conditioning states, such as the feeling, right? Feeling one-pointedness, they become faculties. And with ekagata, it becomes common with magga too, right? Is that all? Yeah. Then we have the sampayutta, presence, association, presence, and non-disappearance. So there are 9 forces in total.
接下来我们看一下第4种的对应关系，不善对不善法。在此作为原法的主语，不善法的内容呢，包括出现在12种不善心和27种不善心当中，与27不善心和27心所相应的5种禅支。那它们呢，则能够支持相应诸运，也即是呢，它们的缘所生法是与这5种禅支俱生的12种不善心和27种相应心说法。那我们如果去探讨它们的工具格同分的关系呢，在此一共呢是有9种的原力，包括呢禅那缘、俱生缘、相互缘、依止缘、根缘、道缘、相缘、有缘和不离趣缘。那在这9种缘当中呢，根源和道源是适当的升起。为什么呢？对于根源而言呢，那在根源的缘法当中的受根和定根呢，与在此的禅那缘里面的缘法的受禅支和一定性禅支呢是相同的，所以它们呢是适当的同分，适当的升起。那对于道源而言呢，道源缘法里面的定一境性和禅那缘当中的一境性呢是同分的，是相同的，所以呢，它呢也是适当的升起。因此，在全部的9种原理当中，除了根源和道源是适当的升起以外，剩下的7种原理呢，它们都是完全的升起。
Then we move into the 5th one. Now it's very easy, right? Nothing much to discuss. We know already. For the akusalo abhyakatasa, we have the 5 jhana factors which support the mind-produced matter. I'm sorry. Yeah, mind-produced matter, the 5-fold existence, right? And the conditioned phenomena, we have the mind-produced matter arising from the unwholesome consciousnesses. Yes. Yes, please translate.
这里的话呢，我们的贤友呢提出一个问题，在禅那园嗯、和道园的同分关系当中呢，那道园里面的正四位就是旬和禅那园里面的旬禅支呢是同分的，所以呢也因为这一点，它们构成适当的同分关系。
Yes, yes. So Sister Cheng has asked a question. Dear Bante, for Magga, Vitaka 2 on top of Ekagata. Yes, yes. Vitaka is Sama Sankappa. Correct.
When they already translated.
No, I mean, there was a question from Sister Cheng. Dear Bante, for Magga and Vitaka 2 on top of Ekagata. You translated, right?
Already, Bande.
Okay. Yeah. Then for the conditioning forces, the jhana along with the forces of connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance, right? So altogether there are 8 total forces. Yes.
那么对于不善对无记的同分关系呢，在此有8种缘，它们构成同分关系，包括了禅那缘、俱生缘、依止缘、根缘、道缘、不相应缘、有缘和不离续缘。那同样的道理呢，它们呢之中呢，根缘跟道缘的缘力呢，它是适当的升起，而剩下的6种缘力呢，则是完全的升起。
Okay, so we move into the next one. Kusalo kusalabhyakatassa, unwholesome to unwholesome and indeterminate. So it's very easy. We have the 5 jhana factors, and then with which it supports to the mind produced matter. It should be added, right? Yeah. The other thing has to be added here. You have to add here the associated aggregates and the mind produced matter, right? In the fivefold existence, and then the in the condition states we have this is also wrong, right? The associated aggregates right? The associated aggregates also need to be added, right? And the 27 mental factors. I'm sorry, associated aggregates and the mind produced matter arising from 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and the 27 mental factors. And then we have the instrumental case phrase. There are 7 in total, right? 4 from the connaissance large group, the connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, presence, non-disappearance. How many have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And together with jhana. So there are 7.
第6种对应关系呢是不善法对不善无记法。 那在此呢，作为原法的不善法的内容呢，包括有出现在12种不善心和与其相应的，与其和27种心所相应的5种的缠支。那么它们呢，可以支住的是相应诸运，以及呢，在无运有当中的心生色法。作为原所生法的内容不善法和无记法呢，包括有嗯12不善心和27种心所相应诸运，以及呢相应诸运的心生色法。那如果探讨它们的同分关系呢，在这里一共有7种的原力，包括禅那缘、俱生缘、意志缘、根缘、道缘、有缘和不离趣缘。
Okay, so now we move into the seventh one, which is the Abhyakato Abhyakatasa, indeterminate to indeterminate. So again, we have two parts here: the period of life continuity, and then we have the at the moment of conception. So the conditioning states, the conditioning phenomena, the 5 jhana factors we have. One point that arise in the mind moments of 26 resultant consciousness, right? So because it's a jhana pacha, it's applicable in 26 resultant consciousness, excluding the 10 types of sense consciousness, right? The dipanta vinyana, it's removed. And the 21 functional consciousnesses, it's there. The 38 mental factors which support the associated aggregates and mind produce matter. So when you have this statement, you have to understand associated aggregates and this one, associated aggregates and mind produce matter. This is for the fourfold existence, and this one is for the fivefold existence.
在此第7种的对应关系呢是无记法对无记法。那这里的话呢，我们要分阶段来去看。首先我们看到的是生命转起期间。那在生命转起期间，它的原法的无记法呢，包括有存在于排除10种商务识以外的26种果报心和20种唯作心里面的5种缠支。它们呢可以，嗯、它们可以资助与其一同升起的26种果报心、20种唯作心、38种相应心所的相应诸运和心生色法。那这里的话呢，需要去理解到，当这些的缠支只资助相应诸运的时候呢，这指的是在四蕴界当中；如果它所资助的是相应诸运和心生色呢，它指的是在五蕴界之中。
Then we come to the conditioned states, the conditioned phenomena of 26 resultant consciousnesses, excluding the 10 type of sense consciousnesses, the 21 functional consciousnesses, and the 38 mental factors, and the mind produced matter, right? For the forces, the conditioning forces, how many are there? There are 11, right? So the jhana, along with the forces of connaissance, mutuality, dependence, resultant, faculty, path, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. Right. So altogether there are 11, and so with the connaissance grade group, all the pachas becomes as completely, and the remaining forces of faculty forces of faculty, path, and the connaissance middle group they come as appropriately.
对于无记和无记的情况，我们来看一下它的同分关系。那在此呢，一共有11种缘，它们呢是可以作为同分关系的，包括禅那缘、俱生缘、相互缘、意志缘、果报缘、根缘、道缘、相应缘、不相应缘、有缘和不离趣缘。那在这十一种缘当中，全部的4种大具生组的缘和禅那缘是完全的同分。 那中具生组的4种元，包括根元还有道元这6种元呢，它们则是与禅那元适当的同分。
Right. And then we move into the at the moment of conception, right? In the subject phrase, we have the 5 jhana factors, and we have the term at the moment of conception, which support the associated aggregates, and comma produce matter. So here also we have to take the fourfold existence and the fivefold existence. And in the dative case, we have the condition phenomena of 19 resultant consciousnesses, 35 mental factors, and comma produce matter. And then we have in the instrumental phrase, we have the conditioning forces of connaissance, mutuality, dependence, faculty, path, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. Right? So there are 11. So the jhana conditioning force, the resultant conditioning force, and the 4 connaissance main group, they are taken as completely, and the remaining 3 in the medium connaissance group, except for the resultant consciousness, they are taken as appropriately. Not only these, we have the faculty, the path, yes, these 2 as appropriately too.
好，接下来我们看一下无记对无记的关系当中第2种类型，即是在结生刹那的表现。那在结生刹那当中呢，缘法的无记法是出现在结生刹那的11种果报心和35心所的心识刹那中的5种的缠支，它们可以支住相应诸运以及相应诸运和业声色。那它的缘所生法呢，包括结生刹那升起的19种果报心、35种心所和业声色法。那以工具格短语来看，禅那缘它能够构成的同分关系一共是具备11种的原理，包括呢禅那缘具生相互依止果报跟道相应不相应有何不离去。在这11种缘当中呢，那禅那缘、果报缘还有呢4种大具生缘，它们与禅那缘是完全同分的。那剩余的就是中具生组当中，除去果报缘以外，剩下的3种缘以及根缘还有道缘，它们呢和刹那缘都是属于适当的同分关系。
Okay, so that's what we prepared for this week, really, in the previous week, really. So from the next week, we'll be discussing the other paccayas. So like this, we'll be discussing for all the 15 paccayas from the Sahajāta group. Next week, we'll do that. And after that, maybe after in a couple of weeks, then we will be moving into the next group of paccayas, right? Now remember, we are still in the, okay, let me show you. All right, so we are still, right? We said that there are 9 groups, sorry, 8 conditions and 9 groups. So we are still in this group, right? We are still in this group discussing the Vibhanga, what do you call the Vibhanga? The investigation chapter, not the investigate, yeah, investigation chapter. We are discussing the Pali and also the analytical states for them, right? So after completing the Sahajāta, we'll be moving into the other groups. But the good thing about the other groups is that like the Sahajāta group, it's not complicated as the Sahajāta group, and also it's not long too, right? This except for Arammana, the others, I believe, yes, they don't have many paccayas. and also not very long.
好，那今天呢，我们就探讨了在去声组当中的因缘和产那缘的情况。那我们需要知道的是，我们现在在探讨的内容呢，仍然是属于8个主要言和9个元组表中的第二种具声组当中的缘的探讨。那在调查品当中如果呢我们接下来呢继续学习呢，将会把具声组里面的剩余的元呢，都以相同的方式结束。学习完以后呢，我们再去学习其他的元组。那好的一点呢是，对于除了具声组以外，其他的元组它的内容呢都并不会特别的长。
Okay, so do we have any questions?
好，大家有什么问题吗？
我有一个问题，嗯，顶你那个班 day 哈，那个我想问看看这个可不可以有一个例子，譬如说我们现在在看这些圆，那么有些是它有时候适当的时候，有些是完全，所以呢，像举这个禅那圆里面的。当根道源是适当的出现的时，来资助的时候，是不是因为有善跟不善的情况？就是说，是不是我在想，就在我把禅那言应用在生活中的一尽性的时候，那是不是当一个人在做偷盗的行为，他在偷东西要非常集中精神，所以他会有禅那缘的原力。那个时候是不是这些其他的缘是完全，但是根跟道就不一定，因为根跟道是不是只属于比较出世间的这种譬如说在做禅定的时候的那时候升起的原力。我不知道这样问的，麻烦您帮我翻译，我不知道有没有讲
姐姐有
清楚。
姐姐有把你的问题可以这个整理出来，然后写下来，然后我们可以再翻译给翻译，这样的话比较清楚一些。
哦，好，但
嗯，
我现在没办法写出来，因为我的打
没关系，我们
字没有办法。
下一节课可以
下
再问。
次好的
嗯，
我们这个上课是每一个月一次，是不是？
每周六的晚上。
每周六都有
对，
有的时候我上线就没有找到。OK，好，我懂了。还有那
嗯，
个，请问这个的书是怎么去用呢？因为我也没有书，我每次都努力写笔记，所以呢，有没有书是可以
好的，我帮你问一下。
好
So, but, so she has two questions. The first question is quite long. It's about the Paṭṭhāna, um, like a practice. So maybe she will try to write down the question and will send to Bandi. Bandi can answer in next class. The second question, she want to know how to get the books, the
Which book?
materials we are using.
Sorry?
She want to know where to get the materials we are using.
We already share in the WeChat group, right?
I think so, Bandi.
Okay, we'll ask Brother JJ to share all the previous study material we shared, right?
OK, I will let her know. 你好，先友，我们有一个微信群，然后这
嗯
些的课件我们都会发到群里面
哦，那我没有在那个微信群，所以不知
你
道是怎么。
可以加一下。
好。
OK, Bandi。
So is that all?
大家还有其他问题吗？还是 single question, Bandi。
Okay, so we share the merits which we accumulated by learning, by teaching, translating, and discussing this Paṭṭhāna, the Supreme Dhamma. So with these merits, we share the merits with the deities and with the deceased relatives, and make a wish that this Dhamma will support us to the practice of Nibbana.
愿我们把一切，分享佛法的功德、听闻佛法的功德、翻译的功德、提问的功德等等一切的功德，回向给一切的诸天，回向给过往生的亲戚们，回向给我们自身。那希望这些善缘的力量都能够支持我们早日证得涅槃。
Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika puññantaṃ anumoditva cirang rakhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika puññantaṃ anumoditva cirang rakhantu desanam. Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika Puññantaṃ anumoditva cirang rakkhantu maṃ paraṃ. Idamme ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā huntu ñātayo. Imina puñña kammena māme bāla samāgamu Sataṃ samāgamu hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā yang pattaṃ kusalaṃ tassa ānubhāvena pānino sabbe saddhamma rājassa ñattvā dhammaṃ sukhavaham pāpunantu visuddhāya Sukāya patipattiya asoka manupāyāsaṃ nibbāna sukha muttamam cirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi sattā kālena Samma devo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purāna surājānu tatevimam rājā rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang imāya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya Buddhaṃ pujemi imāya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya Dhammaṃ pujemi imāya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya Sanghaṃ pujemi addhāyimāya patipattiya Jati jara vyādhi maranam ha parimuccissāmi idamme puññaṃ āsavakkaya vahang hotu idamme puññaṃ nibbānassa paccayo hotu mama puñña bhagaṃ sabba Tānaṃ bhājemi te sabbe me samaṃ puñña bhagaṃ labhantu Buddha sāsanaṃ cirang tiṭṭhatu Buddha sāsanaṃ cirang tiṭṭhatu Buddha sāsanaṃ cirang tiṭṭhatu Sadhu sadhu sadhu
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for this teaching. Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, thank you for the
Sadhu, sadhu,
translation.
sadhu. Thank you very much, Bante.